Eating alone is often misunderstood. For many people, it sounds lonely, sad, or even unhealthy. But psychology tells a very different story. Some people don't just tolerate eating alone. They genuinely enjoy it. They seek it. And sometimes they feel more comfortable eating alone than eating with others. This preference isn't random. It's deeply connected to how the brain processes stimulation, social pressure, and emotional regulation. To understand why some people enjoy eating alone, we first need to understand what eating represents psychologically. Eating is not just a biological act. It's a social ritual, a cultural symbol, a moment of exposure. When you eat with others, you're not only consuming food, you're being observed. Your pace, your choices, your manners, your reactions, all visible. For some nervous systems, this constant low-level awareness creates tension, even if the person isn't consciously anxious. People who enjoy eating alone often experience food as a private reset moment, not a performance. Their brain associates eating with calm, not connection. This doesn't mean they dislike people. It means their mind relaxes when social monitoring disappears. Psychologically, eating alone reduces cognitive load. When you're alone, your brain doesn't need to track conversations, read facial expressions, respond socially, or manage timing. All of that energy can turn inward. For certain personalities, this inward shift feels restorative. One major factor is sensory sensitivity. Many people who enjoy eating alone have heightened sensitivity to sound, movement, or visual clutter. Restaurants, cafeterias, and group meals are full of stimuli. Voices overlapping, plates clinking, chairs moving, people watching. Even if it doesn't feel overwhelming, the nervous system is constantly processing. Eating alone removes that background noise. The brain finally quiets down. Another important factor is autonomy. Eating alone means full control. Control over pace, control over choice, control over silence. There's no pressure to eat faster or slower, no need to explain food preferences, no subtle judgment about what's on the plate. Psychologically, control equals safety. For people who value independence, eating alone reinforces a sense of self-directed calm. There's also a strong link between eating alone and introspection. Many people use meals as thinking time. They reflect, they decompress, they process emotions subconsciously. Eating alone becomes a mental pause button. This is especially common among people who spend much of their day interacting with others. Teachers, managers, caregivers, service workers. For them, eating alone isn't isolation, it's recovery. It's important to understand that enjoying eating alone is not the same as social withdrawal. The difference lies in choice. People who enjoy eating alone choose it because it feels good, not because they fear others. They may enjoy socializing in other contexts, just not during meals. This distinction matters psychologically. Voluntary solitude is linked to emotional stability. Forced solitude is linked to distress. Eating alone by choice is a form of self-regulation. Another psychological layer is identity reinforcement. When you eat alone, you are fully yourself. No adapting, no adjusting, no mirroring. This can feel grounding, especially for people who naturally adapt to others in social settings. Eating alone becomes one of the few moments where they don't need to perform socially. There's also a cultural bias involved. In many societies, eating alone is framed as undesirable. This creates an internal conflict. People who enjoy eating alone may initially feel guilty or abnormal, but psychology shows that preferences around solitude vary widely. There's no universal, healthy way to eat socially. What matters is how the individual feels during and after the experience. Many people report feeling more relaxed, present, and satisfied when eating alone. That emotional outcome matters more than social norms. Another factor is emotional safety. Eating can be vulnerable. People may have complicated relationships with food, body image, or appetite. Eating alone removes the fear of being judged. No comments, no comparisons, no subtle glances. This safety allows the body to relax, which actually improves digestion. From a physiological perspective, relaxed eating activates the parasympathetic nervous system. That's the system responsible for rest and digestion. So for some people, eating alone is not only psychologically soothing, it's physically beneficial. There's also the role of focus. Some people experience eating as a sensory ritual. They notice texture, flavor, temperature. Eating alone allows full attention, no distractions. This mindful eating style is naturally appealing to introspective personalities. For them, meals are experiences, not social events. Another reason some people enjoy eating alone is reduced emotional labor. In social meals, even subtle politeness requires effort, listening, responding, reacting appropriately. Even positive interactions require energy. Eating alone removes that layer completely. The meal becomes simple, just food and self. This simplicity can feel deeply comforting. People who enjoy eating alone often score higher in traits like self-sufficiency, internal focus, and emotional independence. They draw energy from within rather than from external validation. That doesn't make them distant or cold. It means their emotional battery recharges differently. There's also a link between eating alone and creativity. Many creative individuals prefer solitary routines. Eating alone allows ideas to surface without interruption. Thoughts drift freely. For them, solitude is fertile ground, not emptiness. Another misunderstood aspect is loneliness. Enjoying eating alone does not automatically mean someone is lonely. In fact, people who are comfortable eating alone often feel less lonely overall. They don't depend on constant social presence to feel complete. They feel whole on their own. This inner completeness is psychologically protective. It reduces anxiety around social availability. It increases self-trust. It also allows relationships to be chosen more intentionally. Some people associate eating alone with freedom. Freedom from schedules, freedom from compromise, freedom from expectations. That feeling of freedom releases dopamine, the brain's reward chemical. So eating alone can literally feel rewarding on a neurochemical level. There's also the influence of past experiences. People who grew up valuing independence often associate solitude with safety. If alone time was peaceful growing up, the brain learns to relax in solitude. That conditioning carries into adulthood. Eating alone becomes an extension of that learned comfort. Another layer is boundaries. People who enjoy eating alone often have strong internal boundaries. They know when they need space. They don't confuse solitude with rejection. They understand that distance can coexist with connection. This emotional clarity reduces guilt around solitary preferences. It's also worth mentioning that eating alone allows emotional neutrality. Group meals can sometimes involve tension, small talk, or unresolved dynamics. Eating alone removes emotional unpredictability. Nothing unexpected will happen. That predictability calms the nervous system. For some people, predictability equals peace. There is also the aspect of timing. Eating alone allows alignment with internal hunger cues. No waiting, no rushing. This attunement improves body awareness. Psychologically, listening to internal signals strengthens self-trust. Self-trust is a core component of mental well-being. Some people enjoy eating alone because it feels honest. There's no pretending to enjoy something you don't. No social smiling, no masking, just presence. That authenticity feels relieving, especially for people who mask heavily in other areas of life. Another factor is overstimulation fatigue. In a world full of constant input, silence becomes valuable. Eating alone offers a small pocket of quiet, a moment where nothing is demanded. That absence of demand feels luxurious to some minds. Eating alone can also act as emotional grounding. The repetitive act of eating, chewing, breathing without interruption stabilizes emotions. This grounding effect is especially soothing for people prone to mental overactivity. Some people use eating alone as a form of self-care, not consciously labeled that way, but functionally similar. It's a moment reserved for oneself, protected,
undisturbed. There's also a difference between enjoying eating alone and avoiding eating with others. People who truly enjoy eating alone don't necessarily reject shared meals. They simply don't require them. They can enjoy both, depending on context and energy levels. This flexibility is psychologically healthy. Another misunderstood point is confidence. Eating alone often requires confidence, especially in public settings. People who do it comfortably usually have a strong sense of self. They don't rely on external approval to validate their choices. That independence is a sign of psychological maturity. Eating alone can also be an act of reclaiming time that would otherwise be spent accommodating others. That reclaimed time feels empowering. Empowerment reduces stress. Reduced stress improves mental health. It's a positive feedback loop. There's also the role of rhythm. Some people enjoy routines. Eating alone allows consistency. Same place, same pace, same calm. That rhythm soothes the brain. Predictable routines lower anxiety. Another aspect is emotional processing. Some people process emotions quietly. Eating alone allows feelings to surface gently. No need to suppress or perform emotional responses. This internal processing supports emotional regulation. For people who feel deeply, solitude is not emptiness, it's space. Eating alone provides that space. There is also the influence of modern life. Constant connectivity has made solitude rare. People who enjoy eating alone may subconsciously seek balance. They intuitively know they need less stimulation, not more. That intuition reflects self-awareness. Ultimately, enjoying eating alone is not about isolation. It's about alignment. Alignment with one's nervous system, alignment with energy levels, alignment with inner rhythms. Psychology does not label this preference as unhealthy. It recognizes it as a variation of human needs. Some people recharge together. Some people recharge alone. Both are valid. Eating alone is simply one expression of that difference. So if you enjoy eating alone, it doesn't mean you're disconnected. It means you understand yourself. You know what calms you. You know what restores you. And you honor that. In a world that constantly pushes togetherness, choosing solitude, even briefly, can be an act of self-respect. And psychology supports that choice.